Our new story for Book Bites from the Oosterhout Free Library is Henry Heckelbeck is Out of This World, written by Wanda, Coven, illustrated by Priscilla Burris, and published by Little Simon. And I'm Miss Melissa at the Oosterhout Free Library. Chapter 1, Wide Awake. Henry Heckelbeck wriggled from under his covers and gazed at the twinkly stars. He heard Dad's slippers wisp down the hallway. They stopped in front of Henry's door. Too excited to sleep? Dad asked. Henry turned around. Yup, way too excited, he said. In the morning, Henry's class was going on a field trip to the Space Center, which had rocket ships and maybe even aliens. Have you ever been to space, Dad? Henry asked. Dad sat down and said, Only in my dreams. Henry crawled under the covers as Dad handed him a stuffed green alien. Maybe you'll space travel in your dreams tonight, Dad said. Henry yawned. If I ever fall asleep. Dad pushed Henry's hair out of his eyes. Pretend you're sleeping in space, he said. Henry shut his eyes and imagined floating in space. Dad stood up and whispered, Night, night, spaceman. Henry rolled over. Night, Astro Dad, he said before falling asleep. Henry and his best friend, Dudley Day, were the first ones on the bus the next day. Guess what? Last night I spied an alien spaceship in the sky, Dudley said. Henry's eyes widened. No way. Dudley nodded and said, Well, I'm pretty sure, because it had a searchlight and was moving really fast. Henry whipped out his spy notebook. Possible alien spaceship sighted from Dudley Day's house, he spoke as he wrote. The girl's head popped up over the back of her seat. It was Max Maplethorpe. Are you two talking about aliens? She asked. The boys looked at each other. Maybe, said Henry. Max smiled slyly. Do you believe in them? The boys rolled their eyes. Of course we do, said Dudley. We can't be the only planet with life forms. Max smirked and asked, But how can you be sure? Because scientists are looking for extraterrestrial life every day, said Dudley. Max hung her elbows over her seat. But has a real alien ever landed on Earth, she asked. Then Henry had an idea. We can ask the experts at the Space Center. Max smiled mischievously. You never know. Maybe I'm an expert on aliens, she joked. Meep, meep. The Space Center had 3 domes that looked like planets. A telescope stuck out from the top of one of the domes. It's so futuristic, exclaimed Henry. Dudley nodded and said, I'll bet you can see a bajillion stars through that telescope. Max popped up over her seat again. Or a bajillion aliens, she said. The boys laughed. Miss Mizzle walked to the front of the bus and made an announcement. Remember, class, no alien behavior in the Space Center. Use your best human manners all day. Then the bus door swung open and the kids thundered down the steps. A man in a white lab coat and large round glasses met them at the entrance. He wore a black necktie with glow-in-the-dark moons, stars, and alien faces. Welcome, Brewster Elementary, he cheered. I'm Mr. Astro, and I'll be your guide to the stars and beyond today. Who's excited to learn about our amazing universe? The class all raised their hands and asked questions. Is there really a man in the moon? Asked Stan Sterling. Is the moon made of cheese? Asked Nina Knopf. Then Henry asked, Will we get to see aliens? Mr. Astro laughed and said, We'll find answers to all your questions inside, but first you will need your special Space Explorer badges. He pulled a stack of stickers from his pocket. They had a dark blue background with stars and a picture of a rocket. Now we're official Space Explorers, said Dudley. Henry stuck a badge on his shirt and corrected his friend. You mean official space spies. The students paraded by the Space Center gift shop. We'll stop here on our way out, said Miss Mizzle. Henry and Dudley peered in the windows. They spied astronaut flight suits, model rocket ships, and space backpacks. Next, they passed the cafeteria, which was called the food lab. The walls looked like outer space, with planets, asteroids, spacecraft, and floating astronauts. Then they cruised down the Astronaut Hall of Fame. The glass display cases had spacesuits worn by real astronauts. Another case had real moon rock samples. Max ran up to the boys. "Isn't this place cool?" she asked. They nodded excitedly. "Look over there," Dudley said. He pointed to a pair of large curtains with a sign in the front that read, "Do not enter." "I wonder what's going on." "They're probably working on a new exhibit," said Henry. Max elbowed Henry. "Or do you think they're hiding something?" she asked. Henry raised an eyebrow and asked, "Like what?" "I don't know," said Max, "but a good space spy always asks questions." Henry and Dudley looked at the curtains with a new interest. At that very moment, an arm reached out and pulled the curtains all the way closed. But it wasn't just any arm. It was a fuzzy green arm with a fuzzy green hand. Henry and Dudley gasped. Had they just seen an alien? Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. We also have some pictures at the end here of a real moon rock and a real astronaut spacesuit on display at museums. You can see them in lots of museums. Bye-bye.